We will not be seeing Luminaire in the first lineup. However, if things don't go a little bit tough, I hope to see Luminaire perform. Hope to see Luminaire perform later on if they decide to go for a roster swap. However, based on their recent performance so far, Soto, Gonzalez, Villaluna, Del Rosario, as well as Alaba, where for the first game here, they're not going to put Imam into the lineup, which is very interesting. So I feel like this will be a surprise for Team Indonesia as well. Well, this is actually kind of surprising for me, considering how well Imam has been playing in terms of the roster. They have been showing a lot of strategies where Imam, when he's playing on the mid role, he looks unstoppable. And it Villa. A little bit of a question mark on towards Team Indonesia. Is this their actual roster? Is this a roster that I've studied for? Is this a roster that I have prepared for? And based on how they have been playing for past few days, with a brand new roster, with a new substitute coming from Team Philippines, it feels like they might need to scrap their homework and expect the unexpected coming from Team Philippines.
Speaking of homework, look at the preparation being done here from Team Philippines. They got an entire folder of what they want to do and what Indonesia might do. So in this kind of situation, we have to remind ourselves that it is a best of 5. So in the first 2 games, I would say, is testing the waters, testing your limits. What kind of
taking through the notes as well to prepare what is going to be in the draft. As you can see, they are going to be trying to bring something new to the table compared to the usual. I feel like they are trying to bring a little bit of a surprise element to catch them off guard. And that is going to be a very important one, because I'm pretty sure both teams are cracking their heads to bring what they need to do. But as of yet, as you can see, a little bit glimpse of their phones as well. The drafts are already on its way. They are going to be drafting very, very shortly. We are about a minute into the draft, Rafael. What are we going to expect? Are we going to see the Ubi shred? Are we going to see a contest for 1-1? Or are we going to see a potential link being played by Albert?
I feel like going up against Team Indonesia, you really can't go any of this power picks, just because we've seen what they can do with it. If you give off the link to Albert, one of the best links in the world, not Indonesia, in the world, it's going to be a very, very difficult situation for you to fight against. DW has been amazing in goal lane, no matter what hero he uses. So yeah, don't give him the 1-1. What I'm expecting in the draft is I want to see who are they going to target, because for Team Indonesia, I feel like it's almost impossible to target any specific role. But if you're going to target anyone, I kind of feel like you should give respect to Akai for both Philippines as well as Indonesia, because R7 on the Akai is amazing. It's so destructive, and Del Rosario has also showed when he has the Akai, he can set up a lot for his team, making it easier for, well, before this it was Imam to actually dish out the damage, but now Alaba, I want to see whether he will be playing the mid lane role, or actually he's going to play the roamer and Villaluna is going to stick with the mid lane.
Wait a minute. Looks like Imam is actually playing from Team Philippines. All right. Looks like there is going to be a little bit of mistake.
All right, never mind that.
That is going to be their usual strategy. So Team Indonesia, they are going to be, expected. And you can see they are going to be betting the usual, and that is going to be the Valentina with a little bit of plot twist, respecting Villaluna. This is going to be the master shot caller from Philippines, as they are going to be going for their usual banning of the Ling, banning off the Franco. These are two very, very annoying heroes. However, when it comes to Franco, means that if you ban it off, heroes such as the 1-1 will be able to sneak through, even the Fanny as well. But in Philippines, they are going to respect that by taking it away, leaving the 1-1 up for grabs. So question here is, will Indonesia ban it off?
Right now, I feel like 1-1 is a very good ban. Honestly, it's a very good ban, especially there's not too many answers for it. Right now, I like that both Philippines as well as Indonesia, they're really studying each other. Indonesia, they like to, they're putting respect on Villa Luna, making sure that he does not get the Matilda. The 1-1 is open, and the 1-1 is going to get picked up. But Indonesia, they of course, they must see this coming, so they must have an answer. So what is the answer? Are they going to get like an early draw? Maybe they just want to secure the Akai right now?
I feel like the priority coming from Team Indonesia is going to be denying the Akai as well as the potential Xavier if they decide to go for it. But considering the recent trends coming from Team Philippines, they don't exactly lean on the Xavier pick, whereas they are leaning on the Eve. So I feel like Team Indonesia can deny both the Eve as well as the Akai right from the get-go, but they may still consider taking the Bastia as well. So which is going to be the priority coming from Indonesia? That is going to be my question.
For me, I would say the Akai, man. The Akai looks so good. Like, don't get me wrong, Bastia is super tanky, and he can make sure he can deal with these tanky situations, and the Akai has been picked up, but they're going to be securing Angela for themselves, which kind of does show that this Akai is going to be on the EXP lane.
Yeah, I really like the Angela pickup as well, considering that Team Philippines, they do have the tendency to play a really good Enchanter style, but the Angela does leave option for a different variation of the draft, and it does accelerate and compensate certain drafts such as the Esmeralda, which is something that both teams really like to lean on. But with an Angela on the 1-1, makes the 1-1 even more skill. So it makes a lot of sense why they would like to emphasize on the 1-1 a little bit more. So taking it away is going to be a little bit of safe approach coming from Team Indonesia, but it still leaves up a lot of variations. So, Team Philippines, what are they going to go? Are they going to bring Xavier, or are they going to go to Eve? And it looks like it is going to be the Xavier coming in on Team Philippines, as well as the Baxia to match the Akai. But here's going to be a little bit of difference, right? Team Philippines, they do play the Akai in the jungle role a little bit more in these past 3 days. But yesterday's game from Indonesia, they have been able to flex the Akai on a XP lane over a jungle.
Yeah, right now, you know me, I kind of don't like having the Enchanter style when you have a very talented roamer like Vin. But since you have the Akai, which has a very good setup for his own team, I feel like Indonesia's draft right now is really good. Taking this Popol and Kupa quite early, because looking at the draft from Philippines, I'm thinking on the side of Indonesia, are you looking for burst to make sure that you can get the 1-1 as well as Xavier very, very quickly, or you want to focus on damage per second to make sure that the Baxia will not become a problem? And taking this Popol and Kupa, for me, signifies that Team Indonesia, they want to get a certain mistake coming in from Team Philippines, whether it's during a turtle fight or a turtle or a lord fight, and they're just going to use this Popol and Kupa to push, because the Akai with the heavy spin can push everyone away, including the minions. So it's going to be very easy for Indonesia to push, and Philippines, they have Xavier to clear, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It's a very interesting way that they have started this draft.
It's really interesting in the sense that I'm really surprised that Team Indonesia decided to go for a Popol and Kupa. I feel like they would have leaned on the Beatrix a little bit more, but I felt like Team Indonesia was more forced to pick the Popol and Kupa just because of how capable Team Philippines is able to do. They haven't exactly shown Villa Luna's composition yet, and we do know he does have the tendency to lean on the Popol and Kupa, the Enchanter style support, and I feel like Team Indonesia, they're more inclined to pick it just to potentially deny it, but that leaves up a little bit more limitations, because if you think about it as well, if the circumstances call for it, they might be forced to play roaming Popol and Kupa and then go for a Mage Angela, even though it's not a favorable circumstances, but they still like to keep their options a little bit open for themselves.
In a way, Indonesia just banned every hero from the side of Villa Luna, including the Valentina, because again, Valentina is a mage, so he is going to be tested very, very hard here, where a lot of the support, a lot of the mages that can be used as a roamer have been taken, including the Angela on the side of Indonesia. So showing huge respect. They're like, yeah, we want to go hard game 1 up until game 3. Indonesia is really, really looking like they're pulling off all the stops. You know what? Game 1, we're going to dominate.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But on the contrary as well, it feels like most of the Villanuna's composition has been dropped as well. So far, we have seen most of the supports being played by Villanuna, which is currently bad for Team Indonesia, as well as a Eve. And based on the composition for the Philippines, I don't think he will be picking the Eve, considering that they've already drafted Xavier. However, they can still opt to go for a double mage composition, which was a little bit popular in the previous match, where you have 2 mages supporting in the middle lane. So I wouldn't be surprised that if they decide to go for the horse pick, but the jungler remains. You can see Team Philippines, they're predicting that this may not be an Akai jungle. It is going to be more of an Albert playstyle, where they are going to be hoping that it is going to be a landfall pickup coming in from Albert rather than the Akai jungle. So I'm not sure exactly whether or not Indonesia is going to be keeping up the big brain games, but it seems like they will show their mage, and that is going to be the Suns Lilia, which we witnessed from yesterday.
Yeah, Indonesia is showing their hand. This is a siege composition. Look at the amount of wave clear. Look at the amount of zone coming in from Lilia as well as Akai. Even if Team Philippines, they are at an advantageous spot, hopefully Kupa is going to shred the turret very, very easily. Now Philippines, they're going to finish off their draft by having the Esmeralda on the EXP lane, and right now they're going to take Lolita as the roamer, and I feel like this is a solid pickup, but will it be enough?
Yeah, this is really smart as well. I completely forgotten about the Lolita. It's something that Team Philippines like to do. It's kind of like a hybrid enchanter as well, even though it's considered as a tank, just because of its passive ability to build up shield. I like how Team Philippines dragged this long enough, afraid that maybe Team Indonesia is going to be bringing something to actually deal with the Esmeralda, and hoping to counter it immediately. So it's really smart of them to bring out this stage game, but now it's pretty clear for Team Indonesia. They are going to be forced to pick the Koba Koopa, and on the contrary as well, they need to rely on DW winning on his gold lane rather early, benefiting on an early tier 1 from the get-go. So now, Team Indonesia, their response is going to be the Masha instead of the Xerath to do this. So they are going to be good for a little bit more city push potential, and it is going to be the jungle Akai finally coming from Team Indonesia.
We did talk about variety. We did talk about Indonesia being able to switch things up in the middle of a draft, and here we go. Albert is going to be using the Akai, and R7 will be using the Masha. So now we have to see. Masha has been banned a lot during the SEA Games and has been opened quite a few times with varying success. Now the hands on R7, which arguably is one of the best EXP laners in the world, I do want to see what he can do, especially going up against an Esmeralda.
Yep, I definitely agree. There has been a lot of work put into this draft as well, anticipating that in the past as well, Team Indonesia has a tendency to prioritize on the Esmeralda picks, and you can see they're holding out to the last moment coming from Team Philippines, and then eventually picking the Esmeralda, even though it's considered an S tier to Team Indonesia standards. And I'm really surprised it made it through that far, and Team Indonesia, they managed to actually drag it to the last stage, and this time they are going to bang on the Masha to make things happen. It is going to be a battle between whether or not the Popo Kuba is going to be winning lanes, or will Team Philippines enchant herself coming up on top? Is it going to be individual skills, or is it going to be teamwork? This game 1 draft is pretty much set at stone right now.
And I want to talk about Indonesia's draft, because they have an option. Whether they do it or not is completely up to them, but they have the option of going very, very early inside the enemy's jungle, inside Philippines jungle, because they have the Lilia, very, very good in the mid lane, very, very strong in the mid lane, can win the trades, and because they can win the mid lane, she can opt to just go inside the jungle. Masha, we know, is very, very strong in the jungle as well. So even if Masha opts to just ignore the first wave or bring a roamer with Masha just to clear just to proxy the wave first and then invade into the jungle, I'm just saying there's a lot of ways for Indonesia to have a earlier power spike compared to Philippines, especially when we look at the mid lane where it's a Lolita and a Xavier, which in terms of prowess in the mid lane is not enough to go up against the Lilia alone. So for now, I'm just saying, there's an option for Indonesia to go ham even before minute 1.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I can see that in terms of early aggression, Team Indonesia is going to be able to get a little bit more early aggression pressure. But in towards the late game as well, they are trying to actually focus on how to deal with the 1-1. Masha may not be really strong in the early games in terms of laning phase, but when it comes to early in phase and disrupting momentums, he is at tier 1 for a reason. But the question remains is that can they scale into the later stage for the game where the 1-1 doesn't get super out of control and be able to soak some of the crossbow attacks. So it's going to be, I would say, a little bit of gamble between both compositions, but Masha is still a little bit of an alternative to actually disarm the 1-1 to prevent those crossbow attacks.
The ultimate bonding experience coming in from the side of Philippines, having the 1-1 will make them very strong in a team fight. But with Indonesia's draft, having the Popoli Kupa that can push fast, but having the Masha as well that can push very fast, so right now, they can split the tide of war. They can make sure that Philippines, they have to look at the Land of Dawn. Which one do you want to protect? The top side? The bottom side? We're just going to get two. I kind of feel like Indonesia, they're setting themselves up that they can push all 3 lanes, and Philippines, being the Ube strat, they have to choose one of those lanes and having to sacrifice the other 2.
Exactly. On top of now having the Archive come from Indonesia, even if they take a 4v5 fight, they still have the Archive to make a lot of space and disrupt the momentum of Team Philippines. So it makes a lot of sense why they drafted this composition. But whether they are going to be able to execute it is going to be a completely different story, because Team Philippines is going to be looking to oppress them right from the get-go if they're given the chance. But now it all comes down to the early phase of the laning phase. Can the 1-1 beat the Popong Kupa? And whoever gets a slight edge, they are going to be looking to snowball using that very tiny lead, which we did witness coming from Indonesia in their semi-finals against Team Malaysia.
Yes, and for everyone watching, this is going to be the first game of the best of 5 between Indonesia going up against Philippines. However, we do apologize, but right now, Team Indonesia looks like they have some issues with their phones, as we saw. They're asking for the marshals, and right now the marshals are checking on the Philippines side as well before they go into the game. Before they get into the laning phase, we want to make sure all of the phones is working as intended, making sure that all the athletes are comfortable, to make sure that there is no instances where they can make a mistake just off of technicality.
Yeah, I feel like as of now, the Angela composition coming from Team Indonesia does help compensate a little bit more sustained against the 1-1 in the later stage game. But the question remains, can it actually accelerate some sort of attempt in terms of gang? Because when it comes to dealing out damage output, I don't think Team Indonesia has a lot of damage to actually pierce through the defense of the shields coming from Esmeralda. So eventually, the majority of this damage is going to come in from the Popong Kupa, protecting him into a setting of this fight. So I get it that you can use the Angela in 2 ways, offensively and defensively, one on the Popong Kupa and one for the Archive to play the sustains. But now, with the draft on its way, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be game 1 of the grand finals, and these are your players up on screen, and who is going to be the ones that come up on top. And I'm looking forward to see how this is going to go, because this is game number 1.
Yes, we can see in terms of the starting of the match, Team Indonesia, they haven't opted to go any crazy plays. Basan taking a lot of damage from Imam, and this is why I say, even Lily alone, she's strong against any mage, and at times, even the mage and roamer combo.
Yep, and as of yet, they are going to go for a little bit of double mage composition for Team Indonesia. They do have the Angela for the sustains. They were able to harass Imam from the get-go, so this is going to give them a little bit of an upper hand when it comes to oppression. But Team Philippines, they will be able to win the little as of yet.
Yeah, looking at Team Indonesia, even early stages in the game, they're not committing too much, but they are testing the water to see if they can actually invade the jungle. Look at his stance going on onto Imam. Imam having very low HP. He still wants to commit. Villaluna over there probably telling his team, like, no, let's just go back. There's no need to get the first blood right now.
Yeah, it's all about winning those mid lane pressure. It seems like both teams are trading 50-50s all the way. So the side lanes are going to have a little bit more space to actually farm their way through. Team Indonesia, they're going to be supporting Albert to get the gold crab for Yao, but seems like we are going to be going into the pause to try to figure out what is going to be happening as of yet, as seems like there is going to be a little bit of miscommunication to a certain degree.
Yeah, for Team Indonesia as well as Team Philippines, we can see that they are starting the game a little bit more passively. But again, I feel like they're testing the waters not just against the enemy team, with themselves, as well as just to see if everything can go as well as we see a few technical pauses over here. They don't want to make a crazy engage and have something wrong happen in the middle of the fight. You get what I mean? So right now, they're all making sure that they're warming up essentially because again, it's in the morning. You know, most gamers we like to stay. We're mostly alive at night. You know, let's face it. Let's not beat around the bush. So being in the morning, it's a little bit of a new territory. They need a little bit of time to actually get used to the situations. But you know what, guys? I'm ready. I've woken up. Our breakfast was pretty good. The food in Hanoi, Vietnam is very nice. The coffee is amazing. So you know what? I feel good. 3 minutes into the game, I'm used to my hero. Do you guys feel like fighting? I feel like fighting. Let's go for a fight.
Yeah, I definitely agree as well. But being a pro, right? Reply, may it be dropped, may it be delayed. Also, you have opposition. They are going to be for highest level. Who knows, based on the early start of game, Indonesia does have an early presence to be able to harass. But, of course, does not. We know them for as a very position. They do have this very strong lane. They one shot from the get. So that's going to be the year based on the position. It is going to be trying to make space and also set for the other lanes.
It will simply one shot be a very big whoopsie. And I'm pretty sure even hold up. I'm one defensive item first. Oh, perhaps Athena shield, perhaps an immortality. Then we're gonna go for. If Lydia has even just a defensive item, it's going to be. She will have enough time to have one shot. Like I said, just can go ham. He won V2. Space for your own roamer to do his own thing. It's like, you go away. Go EXP. Go goal. You know, help out Albert in the jungle. It doesn't matter. I'm fine here. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm really surprised, despite the amount of the pressure and damage that Team Indonesia was actually doing in the lane with the Lydia, they were able to trade 50-50s. Because of that, they are able to get reset. Because regardless of this situation right now, whoever gets a little bit of a net will leave, especially for either the Xavier or Lydia. It feels like they are going to be able to snowball pretty hard. And you don't exactly want to give a lot of kills to the Xavier, because getting early Cloud of Destiny, getting early Lightning Chunks up on him can be very, very devastating in the entire macro aspect of the game. So it all comes down to individual skills when it comes to lane phase. If whoever gets the first kill, they are going to be looking to snowball to try and transition to a lane unless they trade 50-50s and will be forced to reset. Then that's going to be a completely different story.
In case anyone in the audience is wondering what is the importance of actually winning the lane, in terms of winning the lane, if you're a scaling composition and you survive the entire laning phase, you did not die once. That's you winning the lane. If you, in terms of, it's a 50-50, both of our powers, if both of our strengths are roughly the same, if one player on the opposing team, they win that lane, they win the mid lane, they will have priority to actually rotate on the map. And this is where we see teams escalating their lead, is just because, all three lanes are being won by the enemy team, which means they can rotate first, which means they can get to the turtle first, which means they get to gank first, which means most probably they will get their first blood first, which means they will get their first item first.
Agreed. And, based on that ideology that you brought as well, which is very, very interesting, right? You talked about, priority list. We talked about strategy. We talk about win condition right now, right? The win condition coming in from Team Indonesia is they're hoping to get kills out of it. But the win condition coming from Team Philippines is not winning the early phase, but stalling for time. And how they win the lane is not by getting kills. It's about stalling for the right timing to get specific items. In particular, it is going to be the Esmeralda getting Enchanted Talismans, as well as potentially Oracle or Brute Force Breastplate. That's going to be the win condition, which is stalling for 3 item power spikes on the Esmeralda, and then stalling for time for the Xavier on top of it all. So as long as 2 of the heroes don't die too much, they are going to be creating a lot of space and have 4 enduring team fights, which will be problematic for Team Indonesia. Whereas Team Indonesia, they're looking to slow down this 2 particular heroes' farm, and then look to punish a very, very difficult hero, which is going to be the 1-1. So there is going to be 2 different approaches from 2 different teams in terms of aspects and gameplay and priority lists, but it all comes down to execution and capitalizing on mistakes.
And understanding what you have to do. Like you said, the Philippine teams, they have to stall for time. Look at us. We're stalling for time. Everyone has their own job to do, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it takes to be a professional.
I like how I just gave you like a full segment of professional analysis, and then you're like, we're actually stalling for. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. We are actually,
I'm using your point to segue onto my point.
Keeping you guys entertained.
If they're entertained, I don't know, but yeah.
Are you entertained?
I am very entertained. Again, Team Philippines as well as Team Indonesia. I like that. Yes, we were talking about win condition, and win lanes means different for different people. For Philippines, if they don't winning. For teams Indonesia, if they're getting kills, they're winning. For us, as long as we're here looking at you guys, we're winning.
Wow. Yeah. Is that how you pick up your...
For you guys, if you guys get to eat breakfast, you're winning. Because not everyone gets to eat breakfast. Isn't that right, IC Baby One?
Yeah. Did we eat breakfast? No, we didn't actually eat breakfast as well. Yeah. We're the only losers here. I get it. But... this is going to be a very, very difficult moment, but I definitely agree. Of course, whoever gets kills is going to be winning a little bit, of course.
Of course. I feel like killing is great.
Killing is great?
Finish your point.
Killing is great?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No, we're here to make peace, man. In the game. Okay, only in the game it's fine. Alright?
Just because of that statement, if Indonesia and Philippines, they win the match with less than 10 kills, that is a peace statement. Showing that even in this game, where kills are necessary, they're able to get what they want while avoiding getting kills. That is a statement to the world.
There is going to be a lot of light, When we talk about the strategies, we talk about mental, sometimes we have to talk about our personal fatigue as well as personal opinions as well when it comes to, I would say, a little bit of our own personality as well, which is something that we don't really show too often for you guys when it comes to commentating. And I really like how that Raphael is bringing all this up, bringing into for our commentary as well. And I feel like there is a lot of things that are actually happening behind the scenes that a lot of people tend not to know. We usually tend to see that, hey, this screen, this is actually happening as well. And I'm really liking that we are able to showcase a little bit of our personality for you guys to actually understand what is going behind the scenes, which is what we usually talk about to prepare for the next commentary or even the games itself. So, all in all, plays coming. My
presentation. We are having why? Because you're focused. The longer they don't talk to each other in the game, this will fade away. additional dots are focused.
A lot of
is all over the place, and
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
right? You get like, all right, I'm gonna do A, B, and C, and then in case F fails, which because F is fail.
Oh, I get it.
Fails, we're gonna do portion sigma beta Z4, right?
Mhm.
But then going into the game, because they're so mentally fatigued,
Okay.
they get distracted, or just not distracted, autopilot,
Mhm.
and that becomes the problem. So right now, even though whatever is going on right now, even if they can somehow hear what we're talking about, they need this dot. They need to just
Mhm.
make sure they focus on what they have to do.
Now I'm going to throw you under the bus, Phil.
You're gonna throw me a bus?
I'm going to throw you under the bus.
Okay.
All right. I agree that we have to be focused and everything, right? So we only focus on one small dot,
Yes.
right? But what happens if you're too focused on that one small dot, and you get tunnel vision? Don't you need to look outside as well?
That's when you look at your friend's dots. Like, this is my dot. That's your dot.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
And then, since it's
There's 5 dots.
dot. When all are connected, when all dots are together, they help. I'm looking at my dot. Rio.
All right.
I'm focusing on my dot.
Okay.
You have to tell me to focus on your dot as well. Like, I need you. I need you to create space for me to go in, and then we can initiate together. This is the reason why we need dots. Dots are important. So make sure when you guys are talking, what's it called? Full stop? Yes. Make sure you guys use the full stop very well.
Well, there's also the comma. There is also the full stop. There's also the exclamation mark. When push comes to shove, you got to use them all to deliver your objectives. In this case, delivery is going to be very, very important. But from the side of Team Indonesia, it seems like fatigue is starting to kick in from the get-go.
Now they're just looking for dots. Look at this. They're looking for dots. Where's the dots? Where are the dots? They have to stay focused. Right now, we're Team Indonesia. I feel like they can get back into the game. No problem. Because this is, again, we talked about this. Indonesia and Philippines, this is their everyday. You know, they might as well just imagine themselves being at home.
Okay.
With the luxury of having a towel over their shoulders. They just woke up in the morning. They're just going to play 5 days potentially straight. And then when they get out of the bubble, oh wait, I'm here in Hanoi, Vietnam, and I just got the gold medal, right? So
wow. So that's the biggest dot, the brightest dot of them all, I guess.
Yeah, it's all about mental visualization.
It's a dot. It's technically like one round dark circle, and if you expand it, it kind of looks like a medal.
It's
a big
circle.
Yeah.
The dot for the
that's
medal.
what I'm thinking about. When you talk about medal, it's like, well, so I get it. That's why I'm trying to, visionarize it for the audience to actually understand what you're saying.
Yeah, basically,
it makes sense. Yeah.
I'm just saying it's mental visualization because right now there's nothing else that you can do. Literally, there's nothing else that you can do. You're sitting there. You can't overcomplicate things, so that's why you just have to make sure that you keep focused. Because again,
agreed.
The moment you imagine you having this long pause, going back into the game, and you actually forgot what hero you even chose. That's not going to be good for the first 20 seconds that you have to readjust, like, oh yes, I'm using the Masha.
That's the thing, right? Based on general statistics, of course, scientific reason, right? Human attention span tentatively lasts around roughly about 30 minutes-ish when it comes to being extremely focused. And that's why you want to try and wrap things out and do as much as possible within this span of time. And then probably when you relax a little bit and then you want to re-engage into this focus. And now we're almost close towards the 30 minutes mark. And when you bring up a point like, what was the hero that we played? Now, here comes the question. What did Team Philippines play in terms of their draft heroes?
All right, let's recap. They got the 1-1. That was number 1. And then they got the Xavier, as well as Lolita, Esmeralda, and Baxia. See, I remember.
Not bad.
I have a dot.
All right.
I have a dot.
So you want to test my dot?
Sure, Indonesia. Okay, what's up? Let me answer for you. He got Popol Kupa, Kai, shot as well.
You saved my butt.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, that's a cheat sheet right there for me.
I got a little bit excited.
That was huge.
That was the fast zero.
This was about to test you. I was like, I'm testing you a little. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's cheat sheet right there.
They do.
Embarrass you as much as I can. Very, very.
Oh, I give Pop.
Is that a bribe?
Actually, no, it's a lie. I think it to me, which feels pretty nice. Yeah, that's nice. Thank you guys. Everyone here, everyone is amazing. The athletes, patience.
Imagine what?
Imagine patience.
Oh.
That's the.
What? Imagine. I'm about to go there.
Dragons. This.
What exists?
And dude, come on, man.
Philippines. You know what I'm about to say, right?
Philippines. Indonesia.
All right. Speaking of, I'm sorry. I'm about to go there, but I'm gonna take you back. Imagine, right? It's yeah. I'm just gonna leave it at there. Nothing really to our human nature of humanly body. I'm gonna stop it.
I like watching the Weird Doctor too. It's pretty cool. It's a little bit maddening, but right now, hopefully, let's go back into the game of game number 1. And things have happened, and let me check it out. It looks like Team Philippines managed to secure a turtle for themselves.
Alright, thank you guys so much for bearing with us as well. I hope you guys were very, very entertained with our conversation. This is how we have fun all the time off screen. But nevertheless, this is going to be a little bit of a interesting switch as well, because we are going to be seeing the attempt coming from Team Philippines, board attempt from Gang, and looks like they will catch Win off guard, and that's going to be the flicker forward, and he's going to be able to escape this. But here it comes. The Numenon blast, skip him and check, and flickering to get the kill. This is huge coming from Team Philippines. They need this kill to dictate the tempo, and they will get it.
The focus from Phil Luna is like, no. I'm not going to let this go. I know that you're a roamer, but I'm a roamer as well. You're going down, and I'm going to get that kill. Team Philippines right now, looking on the scoreboard, they managed to get the first turtle as well as the first blood. They're setting up the tempo. So right now, even though, as we talked about, they want to scale, right now, not only are they scaling, they're winning by a little bit, but for them, it's winning by a lot.
Yeah, and early on as well, what was very interesting was that Del Rosario actually opted to go for a retribution onto the Archive, just because he does have a little more mobility despite losing the little. He was actually slowing down Albert a little bit so that he will lose some time while rotating to the minions to actually farm from lane, which was a very, very small, I would say micro play, which actually contributes into the later stage of the game.
2 people from Indonesia is here on the gold lane. Philippines, it looks like they wanted to have any kind of engagement there, but it looks like they're opting not to go for it since Del Rosario's buff is coming up, so he's going to secure that first. Right now, for Team Philippines, what are they really looking for? Because they have an engagement 2 coming in from the Lolita. They're just waiting on Imam as well as Gonzalez. When they're good, they're gonna go for it.
Yeah, it feels like early on they were hoping to win the lane, but considering that Vin was caught out rather early, Team Indonesia is going to be stalling a little bit more time. However, with the hard guns available, they can re-engage any time, but the turtle will be secure from the side of Team Philippines, and immediately they go in for the disengage. Indonesia not able to do anything in these circumstances until they secure their farm. Villa Luna going for the Nimidum Blast, doesn't seem to connect. Vin is going to be able to beat out major spells just like that, and Team Indonesia, they're going to have a little bit more space to fight now if they choose to fight.
However, we do have to talk about the before. If you get the turtle first and now, and means they use the ultimate onto Vin. It does put pressure. The Philippines, they can. Okay.
Yeah, this is about right. The early retribution, Albert will be slowed down a little bit, and even though it's the more again once you did able to steal it ahead a little time out this rotation. Beautiful that Philippines was
still do the one 3,000 we're already having that Indonesia, they're just biting their teams very, very soon. Making it's gonna be once CW is like, you know what, you caught him, I'm gonna Panda. We're gonna
you know, based on so far as well, I think the move like getting the engine was a big put him in super wow to a lot. I think pretty much you see that exciting Hoover down. They set up, unfortunately, unable to capitalize anything at all, because as the game progresses, eventually Team with F is something that to be in if
in Indonesia's the game is still up in the air. I'm pretty sure Indonesia, they can get back into it, get their own advantages, and eventually win the game. But Team Philippines right now, they're looking very, very strong, especially where are they strong in right now? Del Rosario as well as Villa Luna is really controlling the map from the mid lane as well as the jungle side. Del Rosario even going into the jungle of Albert, making sure that his farm is very, very slow. But more importantly, knowing his position to know whether the side lanes, the gold lane as well as the HP lane, can they push up or, hey, Albert is missing. Perhaps it's better for you to play a little bit more safe.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Archive, right? When you get the Archive, you're looking to set up fights with the heavy speed as much as possible. With the Boxers case, it's not about that. It's all about oppressing with your level advantage and also getting a lot of information due to your mobility. And once you get super tanky enough, it's very, very difficult to kill you. And that's going to be the objectives coming from Team Philippines. But like I said as well, I feel like based on the given that they have already lost the first fight, which is the first blood, losing a little bit too much lane control from the get-go. And if this is not handled properly, it can snowball out of control in Team Philippines. So I feel like they are playing a safe approach. It's a little bit long, but it's also risky because the tempo of the game is in the hands of Philippines right now.
Yeah, I feel like in this kind of situation, since both teams are trained professionally. So this is one of those things that they have trained and they're doing unconsciously, which is they're waiting for a certain power spike, whether it be items, whether it be levels. But look at that, Team Philippines, they feel like this is go time, and they're pushing forward right now. Looking at the kills, 4-1, and Philippines managing to secure the mid lane turret.
Well, it seems to me Team Philippines, they are going to be coming up on top, and this is why I'm talking about of snowball effect, right? The moment you lose the early engagement, they are going to look to punish it, and just like that, Team Philippines is going to come on top. Based on the itemizations as well, Razaro is in a stage where he's extremely tanky, looking to go for the next item after the Dreadlord armor, which you can see is going to be on its way.
Yeah, looking at the items just now, Team Philippines looking at the gold lead, 3,000 gold ahead. The 1-1 already has a Corrosion Scythe as well as a Demon Hunter sword. And looking at that, the 1-1 is also preparing just in case, has a little bit of armor to make sure that he can handle CW, but on the way finishing up his Wind of Nature, it's going to be good terms to fight against Opal and Koopa. However, I do have to say he has to be careful of the Lilia, because the Lilia is deceptively painful.
I really like this small decision ever since they introduced the new armor for the blade armor, right? Of the upgraded one before upgrade armor, right? The item. It gives you a little bit more value in terms of defense. Dreadnought armor is slightly a little bit more expensive to get. As a marksman, you want to try and use as minimal of your economy to try and get the best of value. And I feel like he needs to get a little bit more items, but for him to sustain the potential pokes of Popo and Koopa and Masha, it's very, very much needed.
It's a bargain. Maximum effectiveness by minimum spending, and this is efficiency. That is the word that you thought of for me. Now, Team Indonesia, they are in the back foot, but again, they have a lot of opportunities, but they are waiting their time. It feels like since they do have an Akai, they can definitely punish any kind of over-aggression coming in from the side of Philippines, because the moment they overextend and then Albert is directly behind them, then they can do something. Gonzalez, he could protect himself just because he has that built-in Purify, but Imam, he has to be a little bit more safer.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But as of yet, we are talking about stalling for time. Team Philippines is at the stage where they are heading towards the late game stage, and they are having so much control over the map. But they are still respecting the Team Indonesia is trying to find opportunities to go in for Split Push. However, speaking of Split Push as well, looks like they are going to try to make a step as well. And remember, does head on towards Albert in that regard. He's going to try to go for the heavy speed, but he's going to be just like that. As he takes up now, Imam gets a big two-man catch. However, not going to be able to follow up as well, but they need to make a fight for this as well. Imam going to get dived in with the Masha and R7. He's down towards the last 2 more bars. The Andrew is going to slow his way through. He will eventually get the kill, take him out. However, he's going to deliver more pressure, but as he gets tied down and gets taken out.
Right now, Team Indonesia looks like they're being a little bit impatient, where just now, unfortunately, Albert did get caught out, and Team Philippines was able to dish out enough damage, especially Imam. Look at the damage he brought out onto Vid as well as CW. Make sure that they can't do anything, but right now the Lord is being attacked, and we have seen that the Lord has been slain by Team Philippines and pushing further their advantages, even though CW managing to get a kill for himself. But overall, a worthwhile trade for Philippines.
Oh, that was such a risky move coming for Villaduna, not going back, but at the same time, it was a necessary play. Just because he died, they were trying to secure the Lord, and he was trying to provide as much passive abilities of his shield to actually boost up the tanking both our Rosario as well as Hodo. And for them to force the Lord right there, it was so smart knowing that they don't exactly have a Retribution. There's nothing Team Indonesia can do to contest it unless you mess up the Retribution side.
Yeah, and if they actually want to contest it, this is a situation where Philippines, they are having the advantage. So it's a situation where I have the upper hand. I have the high ground. If you want to attack me, I welcome you. I invite you. What other thing can I describe?
I welcome you.
I already said that. Oh. I really would appreciate it if you were to come here right now at my strongest when you are
at your weakest.
Maybe not the weakest, but you're kind of sort of weakish. Because I feel like weakest is kind of like a 10K gold difference.
All right.
Maybe like
fair enough.
a